Hey guys, this is Paulina, and in this video we're going to talk about the difference between past perfect simple and past perfect continuous. Before we start, I have two easy questions for you. What do all perfect tenses have in common? I'm sure you're right. They all use the verb have as an auxiliary verb. And if they are past perfect tenses, which form of have do you think they will use? Past, future, present? Yay! It's the past form of it. Okay, let's have a look at the first tense, the past perfect simple. If you want to make an affirmative sentence with past perfect simple, you need to use a subject, the verb had, and a verb plus ed, or the third form of the main verb. For example, I had climbed. To make a negative, we simply add not to had, so we can say had not or hadn't. For example, she hadn't climbed. In questions, had runs to the beginning of the sentence. Had we climbed? And you can answer these in a short way by saying yes we had or no we hadn't. Please be careful. Spelling of some words might change and it's tricky. For example, walk, walked, dance, danced, travel, traveled, tidy, tidied, and play, played. We use the past perfect simple for an action or situation that finished before another action, situation, or time in the past. For example, the lost climber had been on the mountain for days before he was rescued. Please bear in mind that there are a few differences between past simple and past perfect simple. In some sentences, it is clear which action happens first. In this case, we can use the past simple for both actions. However, when the order of events is not clear, or when we want to emphasize which action happened first, we can use the past perfect simple for the first action. We went to a talk and met a famous explorer. He realized later that he had done a very dangerous thing. Remember that we must use the past simple for both actions when one past action happens quickly after another or one is the immediate result of the other. For example, when the little boy heard the thunder, he hid under the bed. Now let's have a look at the past perfect continuous. Do you remember what all the continuous tenses have in common? Yay! Be plus verbing, be plus gerund, be plus verb plus ing. Very good. So if you want to create an affirmative sentence in the past perfect continuous, you need to use the subject, had, been, because it's the third form of the verb be, and climbing, which is a gerund of climb. For example, we had been climbing. To make negatives, questions, and short answers, you follow the same rules as with the past perfect simple. So we add not to had, if you want to create a negative sentence. He had not been climbing. In questions, had runs to the beginning. Had it been climbing? And in short answers, you say yes, I had, or no, you hadn't. Again, be careful with the spelling of some verbs like make, making, swim, swimming, study, studying. Alright? We use the past perfect continuous for actions that started in the past and were still in progress when another action started or when something happened. For example, he had been free falling for several seconds before he opened his parachute. For actions that were in progress in the past and had an effect on a later action. The hiker had been walking for days and collapsed just before reaching his destination. If you need to have one more look, pause the video or go back, because now it's time to look at some exercises from your book. Remember, they're on the blue pages. In exercise A, we need to read the sentences and make them negative. We had forgotten our passports, so we went home to get them. We had traveled all over the world by his 30th birthday. And I'm sure you know that we create negatives by adding yay, not to the verb had. For example, we hadn't forgotten our passports, so we didn't go home to get them. He hadn't traveled all over the world by his 30th birthday. A couple of questions now. In sentence 1, what happened first? And in sentence 2, what happened before his 30th birthday? Take a few seconds. And I'm sure you know that in sentence 1, forgetting the passports happened first, and in sentence 2, he had traveled all over the world before his 30th birthday. Is the sentence in exercise C true or false? We use the past perfect simple for an action or situation that finished before another action, situation, or time in the past. And I'm sure you know that, of course, it's true. Right? Time to answer a few questions about the past perfect continuous. Read these sentences and underline the verbs. They had been walking in the desert for days, so they were exhausted. We had been driving for a few hours before we realized that we were lost. And I hope this is what you've underlined. Had been walking, were exhausted in sentence 1, and had been driving, realized, and were lost in sentence 2. Match the uses of the past perfect continuous with the sentences in D. Pause the video, think about it, answer soon. And I hope that you know that we use the past perfect continuous for actions that started in the past and were still in progress when another action occurred in the past, which is sentence 2. And we use the past perfect continuous for actions that were in progress in the past and had an effect on a later action in the past, which is shown in sentence 1. And this is the end of this video. Thank you very much for your attention. To create it, I've used materials from the grammar reference from Close-Up B1 by Cengage Learning and grammar exercises from Close-Up B1 again by Cengage Learning. Thank you very much. I'll see you in class. Bye!